Begin this morning with new tariffs that are set to take effect tomorrow on goods from Canada, Mexico, and China. President Trump warns Americans could feel the pain from retaliatory tariffs. He says fentanyl pouring into the U.S. is a major factor as to why those tariffs are in place.
Fentanyl has killed this year at least 200,000 people. It's pouring in from China through Mexico and Canada, and they've got to stop it. And if they don't stop it, the tariffs are going to get worse, a lot worse.
Well, Wall Street doesn't like this message. Off to a rocky start of trading since the tariffs were announced. The Dow is down more than 500 points, a little over 1.3%. I want to bring in CBS News correspondent Natalie Brand from the White House to talk more about this. So what is the administration's strategy surrounding the retaliatory tariffs, given that the president of the United States, who campaigned on bringing prices down, if you recall, Natalie, as I know you do, that he said the day that he took office, prices were going to go down day one. Now he's telling us that Americans will feel the pain. So what's the plan for those retaliatory tariffs?
Yeah, Vlad, and we're hoping to maybe learn more later today. We did learn a short time ago that President Trump spoke to Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and will speak to him again later this afternoon as those retaliatory tariffs were announced over the weekend in response to President Trump's announced tariffs. So those two leaders, they are communicating. That is significant. We'll have to see what happens from that later today. But again, what set off the events this weekend, Trump's announcement, his plans, executive order to impose these tariffs, 25% on goods from Canada and Mexico, 10% on China. And his rationale, he says, is to curb the flow of undocumented migrants at the southern border, also illicit drugs at the northern and southern border. This is, as you noted, something that Trump has campaigned on, these tariffs, saying in part that he also wants to spur manufacturing here in the United States, generate revenue. But what we are seeing is just massive reaction across a number of key sectors. You saw the stock markets react this morning, and there are just a ton of industry groups and key stakeholders really sounding the alarm about the impacts to industry and the American consumer.
All right. So, Natalie, the other question that I'm curious if the president has addressed is why he is putting in a 25% tariff on one of our closest allies. Canadians, as you know, have bled and some have given the ultimate sacrifice in support of the United States and its goals going back to World War II and continuing on until the global war on terror in Afghanistan. Meanwhile, China, who the president suggests is an adversary of the United States and most geopolitical strategists agree, is only being hit with a 10% tariff. Has he explained why?
Yeah, this has increased tensions with two allies, Canada and Mexico, and also two key trade partners. We know that the president really is trying to use this to put pressure, negotiating pressure on these two countries, again, to try and achieve his goals at the border. But, you know, the impacts of this are really remain to be seen, especially we'll have to wait and see how this plays out if negotiations are able to get anywhere before these tariffs are set to take place. But you mentioned Canada. Already the auto industry, the automakers and facilities in Canada reacting over the weekend and into the day. Home builders, a lot of soft lumber is imported from Canada and Mexico. That's used for drywall. So the Home Builders Association warning that this is going to drive up the price of housing even more. Farmers say they could be hit hardest by the retaliatory tariffs that Canada has announced on products, you know, ranging from dairy to fruits. Also restaurants saying, you know, prices will no doubt have to go up given all of the food that is imported from places such as Mexico. I want to read you a quote from Farmers for Free Trade, they put this out this weekend. They say placing tariffs on 3 largest export markets for American farmers and ranchers, particularly for an extended period of time, will have severe consequences. They go on to say that it will be a disadvantage. They're worried about losing market share to places like South America. So really the question on everyone's minds, will these tariffs take effect on Tuesday? For how long? And, how will the impacts continue to ripple across this country and beyond?
Seeing those ripple effects, as we pointed out, with the stock market, Natalie, which is down, and that is pricing into, the market is pricing into the fact that there may be an 11th hour reprisal of these tariffs based on these calls that the president is having with Trudeau and the president of Mexico. But once those tariffs go into effect, we can expect to see a sharp decrease in the market, and that is going to affect Americans' 401ks, their retirement accounts, and that's not a good sign. I know the president is tweeting that everyone thinks it's fantastic. Market certainly doesn't think so. Natalie Brand for us at the White House this morning. Thank you very much, Natalie. Appreciate it.